What we're hearing is that the president has no legal foundation whatsoever to suspend an elected governor as well as any other elected officials. They say there is no enabling law, no precedent in the 1999 Constitution that I see you are holding, no Supreme Court ruling that grants the president such sweeping powers. Some have called it civilian coup d'etat. How do you react?
Well, thank you for having me. I think those who have taken pains to discuss about this matter, depending on which side of the coin you intend to follow, unfortunately have not really addressed issues without their bias. The problem is that we have the laws, which is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. No one has been able to point a particular section of the Constitution that the president has violated. Yes, there is, when a state of emergency is declared, it is a display of constitutional order. It is something that, you know, depending on the facts, I used to tell people that the facts of every cases are different. So you cannot relate a particular incident in terms of what happened at that time to what is currently on ground. You will recall that when the state of emergency was declared, the president actually made a broadcast to the whole nation and he laid the foundation. I want somebody to tell me the provisions of the Constitution that prohibits the president from taking the action he has taken. Yes, people said that the removal of the governor was unconstitutional, but the question to ask is that, was the governor removed? Because the president did not say the governor was removed. What the president said was that the governor was suspended for a period of 6 months. So suspension and removal. The Constitution talks about how the governor of a state can be removed. No doubt about that. For me, I believe that...
Do you think we have gotten to that point? Because Section 305 requires an imminent breakdown of public order.
Yes.
Some would say Rivers State isn't in active warfare.
That's subjective.
In fact, the opposition PDP claims this is a political move to undermine
that is still subjective. That's the subjective.
No, I'm asking your understanding of that law.
No, this is
maybe two fire incidents in the pipelines. In fact, as of today, the governor is even claiming that nothing really happened in those places.
Security matters that will require the declaration of state of emergency needs not be physical outbreak of law and order. If there's an imminent threat to the federating units, to any of the federating units, and that is of such proportion that will affect the nation, the president has a duty.
So that means it has not affected it. The president, you are saying perhaps what has happened is a potential...
Yeah, the Constitution anticipates
impact on public order.
The Constitution anticipates that if there's a threat, the word threat is that it's about to, it has not actually happened. So these are subjective, and who determine where there's a serious threat to the federating unit? There are those that has the opportunity to have the informations as may be disclosed to them by the security outfits.
I hear you, but
I don't believe that we will have to demonstrate it by the complete collapse of the entire system.
You know that the Rivers incident is beyond just the attack or the supposed attack on the pipelines. It has a rich political undertone, and one of the big players is a minister under this administration, whose name wasn't mentioned for once during Mr. President's speech.
That is why.
So that political undertone is perhaps one major foundation upon which many of the critics are nailing Mr. President for this.
That is why I said it depends on which side of the coin you try to follow. It appears as the state of declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State has been divided between the governor, the Fubara governor, and the Honorable Minister of Federal Territory, Nelson Wiki. For me, I believe we should look beyond that. First and foremost, let's accept the fact that was there any need for declaration of state of emergency? And nobody is in better position to answer the question than the president himself. And secondly, what has happened in Rivers State? What step has the governor taken before the declaration of state of emergency? Remember, Wike is not the governor of Rivers State. Somebody was sworn in under the Constitution to be the governor of the state. And that is the person that has the constitutional responsibility to Rivers State.
I understand the responsibility of Mr. President, but I'm sure you've also heard critics say they have pointed out states like Zamfara and Plateau that have had a worse security crisis, yet no emergency rules.
So determine what is worse security crisis.
Well, attack on human life, disruption of human activities, that's glaring to the eye to see.
Instigated by who?
Well, that is subjective.
You see,
but as long as
the case in Rivers State,
we've reported kidnapping, abductions, you know.
The case in Rivers State, for my little understanding, is a bit different. Where the principal actor themselves are the people who are the custodian of the governors of a state. It's a little bit critical and different. We are talking of forces beyond a governor of a state who is also not the principal actor of the breakdown of law and order.
That is assuming that the governor is guilty. Now, who determines?
It's not a question
because
of guilt.
It is Mr. President's word against Governor Fubara. Yeah, Governor Fubara is saying, I have no relationship with the militants.
You see, if we say the president word against Governor Fubara, who is in charge of the Federation of Nigeria? It's the president. Certainly not the governor. It's the president. And the president has enormous responsibility conferred on him by the provisions of the Constitution, which includes ensuring that none of the federating states will act in such a way that it will affect the federation called Nigeria. Okay. Because that the state governor had these cases of Fubara and the governor, the minister of federal territory, had been on for a while. And you will recall that at a point, the Supreme Court delivered a judgment, a far-reaching judgment, as relates to Rivers State. And the Supreme Court described what happened in Rivers State as absence of governance. Absence, that's a serious indictment. So, is it the president that wrote the judgment for the Supreme Court? The point is that let us not be too emotional and sentimental. I personally, as a constitutional lawyer, do not want to see a day where a governor that was elected and this legislature that were also elected being asked to leave office on the grounds of
Mr. Olutekunbi.